So I'm Edith Hall. I'm just an egghead. I'm a classicist professor who reads these things in Greek. And I came a few weeks ago because my wonderful daughter, who's in her mid-20s, said, "Mom, Brie Larson's doing a Greek tragedy and Stockard Channing's in it. Can we go and see it?" And I said, "Yes, darling," because this is not someone who's ever normally wanted to go to very, very, very serious theatre. And I came, and I was knocked out by it, and I was asked by the Times Literary Supplement to write a review. And I wrote a very honest review, exactly why I liked it so much. One, it's by far the best production of Sophokles' Electra I have ever seen.
I did not know this.
And I have seen upwards of 40. Secondly, that was probably the best sung chorus. No, certainly.
Obviously.
In ancient Greece, you either sang them, no, today you either sing them or you dance them. In ancient Greece, they could do both. But frankly, if you're going to sing them, I could not believe this ensemble. And thirdly, I just thought it all made sense, okay? It was completely, to me, authentic in a proper way. Not that it was done in ancient Greek costumes with masks, but this is how Sophokles would have done it with these formal conventions today. To me, it made intellectual sense, okay? Utterly brilliant. So, I'm actually going to start with the chorus, which I believe is the heart of every Greek play. Every chorus is either a space invader, like Euripides' Bacchae, they're coming in, or they're a space defender. Now, this is an absolutely classic space defender, all right? That is how you start if you're writing a Greek tragedy. Are the chorus defending the space? Is the community defending the space, or is it invading it? So I really wanted to ask exactly, just technically, because I long ago trained for about 3 weeks as an opera singer. Chorus ladies, are you the chorus leader, technically?
I lead a lot of the...
Yeah. Could you tell us how on earth you all get the same note every time and start at exactly the same time without a conductor and finish at exactly the same time and do dissonance of semitones on sustained chest notes?
Wow!
So we spent about 2 weeks working like 10 till 6, drilling all of the music. And technically on stage, we all have in-ears and we just get the notes that we all start on. And then someone...
You do?
Yes. So we all get a note that we start on in our ear. It'll just be like a boom, boom, boom. And we have a cue line and then someone will do a breath, literally. And then we all start singing. And I think we all know the music very well, so we know generally what the tempo is, but we also are following each other. So if someone's leading it and they miss a beat or they add an extra beat, we've become a hive mind. And so it is natural for someone to miss a beat and everyone to still come in with them. Yes.
Talk about birds, though, because there's big gaps. The song where they're all seated in the chairs towards the end, and there's these very long pauses. Because, I mean, I watch it every day, and I'm like, how are they doing it?
I mean, yeah, we did have, I feel like, multiple breakdowns as to like, we're never going to learn it, it's too much, please. Ted Hearn, the composer, is incredible. Fantastic. And the phrases in that song, he really honors the lines in the translation. So there are really specific pauses. It kind of changes time signature multiple times. And so we are essentially all counting on stage. Why is it 1, 2, 3, 4? We look at birds. That is what is going on in everyone's heads, and it's not regular. It's not like 4. It's like it goes from 4 to 7 to whatever and changes. It's 5. There's 5, 8, and then it's suddenly 3, 4, and then it's something else. And it is just drilling it. It's just memorizing it. But to this day, I don't think we'll ever be like, it's just fine. I'm never going to count again. We are religiously counting. I think it's getting I mean, no, I think it's great. But I think for a while we were like, this is not possible.
Would any other chorus member like to add to that? No? I'm absolutely fascinated by the revolve. What I most loved about this is that for the ancient Greeks, they invented the circular dancing stage, which is the epicenter of the action, and the chorus is the center of the action. So what I really loved was the use of the revolve, because that brought us back to this without dancing. So does anybody want to talk about how difficult it was not to just fall over trying to get on or off that thing at the right time?
Yeah.
I think, is that for you to take?
Sure.
Yeah, it's good for you to take.
Yeah, well, I just come from doing another show that had revolves, and I had sort of a tricky experience on that one. It's sort of like being on a boat. That's the best sort of way I can describe it, is that you're walking onto something that is moving. But then what's wonderful about it, especially in something like this, is that when it is something that's so considered and so, so of course it's not a real microphone. Yeah. We'll speak up.
No, you need it to also talk.
Yeah.
You need both. Just don't worry. He understands.
Yeah. So basically, that like the revolve is like stepping onto a boat. It's like you're stepping onto something that is moving, and so there is this sort of. It gives you an entrance whether or not you're actually coming through a door. It does take some sort of finesse that some people lack at times. And they can sort of have a banana peel aspect to it. It's quite humbling. It's the great equalizer. But it does actually, when it is something that's so considered, give you this sense of walking into something that is in progress and in some way unstoppable. I don't know.
Fantastic, thank you. So I'm going to ask the next question, and I want basically two answers. One from Greg Hicks, who played the nastiest Augustus I have ever seen right now. Talk about slime. Okay, because I was going to say, has anyone ever been in a Greek tragedy before, and did anything surprise you? Now, I happen to have seen Greg Hicks in a tragedy in 1982, which kind of ages us. Is there anyone here who was never in a Greek tragedy before?
Who's never been?
Yes.
Oh, I've never been in a play, yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask you a lot later, so somebody else?
I think a fair few.
Anybody? Quite a few?
Yeah, I think a lot of them.
What surprised you? Did anything surprise you about this play?
Oh, so much. I think I can say what's been amazing about doing a Greek tragedy is the text. The text itself has been just incredible. I think Anne Carson has done an amazing job of the translation. It makes it then more accessible for people like me who haven't done a Greek tragedy before to understand the text itself. And similarly with Ted's music, he's honoured the text itself, even putting it into song, which I'm more familiar with song.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's made it a more accessible route, because it has been a complete maze to navigate, yeah.
But did it surprise you how strong and relevant it felt?
It's just the most current. It's everlasting.
Yeah.
It relates to now. It relates to the future. It relates to the past. It's everything. Yeah, completely.
So, one thing that really has always amazed me is this was Virginia Woolf's favourite play.
Oh.
Because she didn't know about the Bechdel test, but she actually wrote a whole essay where she said what's amazing is you just have this stream of women talking to each other about something other than getting a boyfriend.
Murder.
Yeah. She really did, and I wondered if that struck you. Have a community of women, the womenist community, and then two sisters and a mother. That is the play.
Absolutely.
No. So
Well, there is the brother that kills the mother. I mean, there is that.
but is he as fully fleshed out as...
sorry.
Is Orestes in any way given the same psychological background or depth as the women?
No, I don't think so. But I think, I think it's curious. I always felt Clytemnestra has this fantasy that the little boy that was snatched away from her when she supposedly, to be protected, but she never saw again. So she had this fantasy of my little boy is going to come back. And of course, he does come back and he kills her. And I think there is something about how we vengeance and about we make up stuff to justify our vengeance and to justify our evil acts. I say this as an American in the world we're living in now.
Thank you. But I would just like a quick word from Greg. So you've been in an awful lot of Greek tragedies, have you not? I count at least 15, briefly thinking about your career. Can you tell us what you think about this play? What's special about Electra?
It's the first time I've done one of these plays without a mask. So, which is quite significant, really. Every other huge production I did, I was wearing a mask, full mask. And we were lucky enough to go to Epidavros in Greece and play what is the most remarkable amphitheater in the world. So this is the first time that I've encountered a play of this canon without a mask. But the vision centrally to this production is so profoundly resonant.
Yeah.
And brilliant and unique and singular that in a funny kind of way I feel like it's not that I feel I am in a mask, but I feel I'm in a ritual that would be in the same landscape as a mask, which captures the essence of what these plays do to you as a performer. And hopefully as an audience. They are so accurately authentic to the human condition. There's no side to them, as they say in Yorkshire, I think. They don't have any artifice. They're completely true on an emotional level, which is partly why the director I work with insisted that masks, the human face couldn't hold the intensity of the emotion sometimes.
Thank you, Greg.
Sorry?
But can we talk about mics rather than masks now? I want to ask.
Mics?
I want to ask Brie about
I hate
mics.
mics.
I know.
Not Brie's mic, but I hate this one.
No. But it's really, really interesting. So, Brie, what I really want to know was this your idea? Or, I loved it because the
Then
actual...
it was my idea.
Was it? No, not at all. I loved it because in the ancient Greek theatre, so the leading actor would have 3 different modes of speech. They would have full-on aria, sung lyric. They would have ordinary speech, which was in an iambic, not dissimilar to the blank verse of Shakespeare. They also had a weird intonation thing, which was somewhere between the two, like church chanting. Were the mics your idea, or did that develop in performance, or was that written into the script? Because I thought they were fantastic.
I highly doubt it was my idea. But it's also really hard to say because it feels like, Daniel Fish, our director, I feel like we both came to it separately that we wanted to make Electra, Anne Carson translation of Electra, met both in this confusion of like, I know I'm supposed to tell this story, but I don't fully understand why, but okay, well, I guess we're gonna have to figure it out. And so in September of last year, we had a week or 10 days, something like that, of just the two of us in a room messing around with sound, because the thing that we knew was clear about her is that all she has is her voice, and she is a singular sound. And so it felt a lot more like band practice, like we were starting a noise rock band a lot of the time, and it was like truly messing around with the effects pedals. There used to be a lot more. We tried a lot of different sounds, feedback, the different sounds that can come with feedback, and trying to understand for ourselves, like, if you only have a voice, what are the ways that you're going to amplify it? And so it just always felt very clear, I guess, It's like, I don't recall, there was never a time where we were like not It was more of like, how many microphones, and do they have cords? Do they not? Like, where are they on the stage? And like how, there was a version of the show where I was like completely tangled in cords because I was juggling so many different microphones with cords. It was just, so anyway, yeah, it was always that, and it's just been refining that concept.
And what about the, I thought, wonderful emphasis on the word no? And I'll tell you what, I went back and looked at the Greek text and discovered that the number of negative clauses actually in the syntax are actually negative clauses one way or another.
Yes.
It is totally true to the text. And do you know what? It's the characteristic in the Iliad of your father Agamemnon. He starts the thing on don't, no. So for me, as someone who reads this stuff, it was just like, you are your father's daughter, but you don't really have to know about that. So where did that come from? Because I found it baffling at first, and once I got into it, it was just like, this woman is just so full of no and negativity that it's just become part of your entire body.
She's a living protest.
Right.
And just because someone's protesting doesn't mean you have to agree with what they're protesting, but there's like a power in someone dedicating their life to their cause. And that's what she's doing. And I've never been afraid of the word no, happen to be a huge fan of it, kind of #1 fan of no, but like this has been an incredible exercise for me. I mean, first of all, just exploring the different ways you can say no.
Yeah.
Also the task of learning a different note for every no. I mean, that's part of a composition. Ted wrote the notes for every single no that's in here. In terms of length, I mean, the amount of highlighters, because I had to use to try and remember all of these no's and the notes and the length, because I was like, Ted, I don't read sheet music. And he was like, you'll figure it out. And I was like, will I though? Because it's like, feels pretty important. But it really did start to become like hugely part, just like I start to understand what my dialogue is and where I'm supposed to stand, it became embedded in it. And I think in particular that last no, which, you know, I think Greg could probably write a novel about his experience of like, truly probably at the end of this, like an hour of your life will have been spent with me saying no into your face. It's a very powerful experience. And again, whether or not you agree with her no's or her stance, I think it's interesting for people to sit and observe and deal with their discomfort. Even somebody who's like, oh, I love a woman who says no. I think sometimes people are like, but do you have to say it like that and that long and in that way? Like, and that's part of why I say it's not so much that this is just like a play. It's like an experience for you as the audience too, to be in it and to go, why does this make me so uncomfortable? Like, why do I not like this? Or why am I really into this? You know, it's like very much both. It might change as you watch the show. I mean, yeah, I live her every day, so I find her to be a very interesting, complicated character. Yeah.
So I would really like to ask, so I'm going to ask you, right, because you come on dressed as, I don't know, some sort of sports car driver. You are the most topically dressed person in the play, right? Yes, you're a bit 30 years ago punk, that's okay.
Yeah.
But do you think, do you feel this is relevant? You're coming on, you're giving a speech that's half sports commentator, half Eminem, right? To you, what is this about today? You're quite a young man. What does this make you feel about today?
Well,
compared to me.
look,
I want to ask everybody this.
well, no, I mean, in terms of the costume, my little Formula One outfit. Weirdly, when I saw the sketch of it, the rendering of that, suddenly everything made sense to me.
Really?
I just thought, oh, okay, that now I get it.
Yeah.
He's gone, like, that is the sort of something that exists in my brain as an image of somebody who comes from a really wealthy family and goes off to sort of drive chariots or cars, right? And that, like, in that speech, which is typically delivered by the old man who has raised Orestes, and in this we are having Orestes, or at least the actor playing Orestes does that speech. It became this sort of image of who this boy who was. And so in that way, this sort of iconography within this piece started to click into place for me. Similarly, the tunics then begin to make, it all makes a kind of strange, a sort of strange psychic sense that I don't quite
Can I
get.
push you on that, though? You
Yeah.
say this is a little rich boy who,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
just gets to play around with sports cars.
Yeah.
So in terms of relevance today, is this like Dynasty or Succession, a play about what happens with the ridiculous rich guys at the top?
It absolutely could be. I don't like think of it that way when I do it, but I think that's a very valid interpretation. I would sort of say, I mean, in terms of how I think about it, it's the play Electra by Sophokles that is something that has existed far beyond something that my meager mind can grasp, but
Yeah,
also...
But it's not good enough to say it's a timeless masterpiece. It has to speak to us now.
And
to
I
our
think it
current
absolutely
thing.
does.
Does
In
anybody
terms-
else want to say anything?
I think how it speaks...
Chrysothemis, you look
Yeah.
interested.
Just remind me what you just asked.
I was saying, what
Because
is it
you
about
responded.
this particular story about this upper-class rich family cutting each other to pieces and, you know, splitting down the middle?
relevant.
Do you think it's about now?
I think a lot of the things about the play is relevant right now, in terms of we have women screaming and shouting and no one listens and no one cares until a man turns up and does something about it. We don't have masks on, but both sisters look different. We are different. There's a racial thing here. But again, it's like how does that, if we're taking it to today's day, like why is it that Chrysothemis is also suffering, but no one's listening to her?
Yeah.
And, you know, everyone sort of put her to the side. So yeah, a lot of these themes are very much things that we're living right now. I feel like we've all, at some point during this process, it's been personal to us. It's tapped into something that we're all like, wow, I wasn't expecting that to happen. Like, I know that there's been loads of moments where I've gone, wow, this play is a bitch. Like, things have been buried and it's unburying things without my knowledge or my permission. And here I am going, oh, actually, art is imitating life, you know, in so many ways.
Absolutely. I think in terms of the sibling relationships and the child-mother relationship, but you mentioned America Now. What is it about this revenge, this obsessive revenge motive that made you say that?
Well, I think we know what I'm talking about. I mean, we have a president of the United States, supposedly the most powerful man in the world, who lives on vengeance and stupidity. And so we have somebody that is potentially a threat to our own people and to the entire world. And again, are we going to stay silent? Are we going to rise up? How do we rise up? Are we banking fires? What does that mean? I don't think we've confronted this kind of primal vengeance this man lives on, this resentment. That is his fuel. And it's going to affect every human being in this room and probably on this planet.
I'm just going to allow myself a platform for 1 minute before the last question. Can I just say that is the way to resist? Aristotle, who wrote about Sophokles incredibly intelligently, wrote incredibly intelligently about tyranny. And he said, tyrants can't work if ordinary people carry on being good friends to each other in the community. They go to the theatre together, they go to reading societies together, they go to dinner together, they go to the pubs together, and they carry on being nice to each other, and those guys can't win if they can't split us up. So we stick together, they will go. I mean it. Sorry. I have to say that. It's down to us not to let them corrupt our civil society. Sorry. So, whose tragedy is it? Whose tragedy is it? So, sorry.
Let me help you there.
I would like everybody, as our finale, to say whose tragedy is it. So, Clytemnestra's dead. Aegisthus is dead. so it's tragic for them. Okay.
No, actually, they're in a better place.
How are two sisters who've just practically torn the guts out of each other, a brother who they haven't known for God knows how many years, and an alienated but sympathetic chorus of citizens possibly going to carry on Argus into the future? Whose tragedy is it? Brie, yours first.
Are we just doing rapid fire? Here, start with Greg and just go down.
Yeah.
Or not? Oh, okay.
Is it the
So you just want me
community's
to-
tragedy,
No,
the
I think that-
Sophokles', Electra's, Orestes, or all of ours?
I'll just end this thank you all for coming, is by saying that I think what unfolds and what I feel, it's still evolving for me every time I do the show. It feels like we're doing, yes, it feels like a spell. Every time we do the show, I feel like I'm like it takes me like deeply. But I'd say by the end of the show, I feel so sad. And I'm going to cry. I feel so sad because I feel for everybody in the story, and I don't know how anybody was supposed to get out without there being more bloodshed, because they are products of violence, and the only way they know how to make the violence stop is through violence. And so when I think about us today, I go, I'm so confused, because what we want is love and community and safety. And so we need to understand that and look at this play and look at this text and go, where is the violence in my life? How am I a product of violence? And how can I be for peace? Because it's really as simple as that. Even though, as I say it's simple, it's super fucking complicated to like untangle ourselves from the violence that we live in. So anyway, it's a tragedy for all of them. Like, it's a tragedy for all of us watching it. It's a tragedy for us to have to be still telling a story from 2,000 years ago, and we're like unpacking it.
2.5.
Okay, sorry, 2.5, even more. So anyway, that's my take. And I think.
I just want to say there's a great bit that the chorus say, which is "Do not breed violence out of violence." Yeah. And that's one line in the text that we say 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
And Ted has made us sing it time after time, and I think that's such a powerful thing. Do not breed violence out of violence. Yeah. I think it's my mantra for the show, really.
Yeah. I actually think that's a great moment to end on. Thank you. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was great.